Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind it.
Rewind that scene. Rewind that scene.
Hello, you are listening to Rewind That Scene. We are Brooklyn comedy Bobo Touch, and this podcast is about movies that we love, old movies, new movies of all genres that we go back in time and dissect it to learn new perspectives and stories that went into making these iconic movies. Right, Ponce?
Yep, and in each episode, we are lucky to have a guest from the movie, whether if it's an actor, director, cinematographer, food runner, or a doctor that was on set.
Oh, medic.
You never know.
Oh.
And, today we're talking about a movie that really inspired me as a kid.
Oh, my God, yes.
The soundtrack and score was really, the Orion Pictures star, intro. Of course, for every movie is sick, but when I think of Orion Pictures, Orion, whatever the fuck they're called, this is the movie I think about. It is when you first see the beginning of Robocop and
man.
you hear the music sting come
That
in.
theme song.
Lois.
Fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So good, so good. It really is an amazing film. 1987. No one knew what it was going to be like. Set in Detroit, shot in Dallas, an incredible film. And, I don't know if you know this, but the director of Robocop, of course, did Total Recall, but he also has done Showgirls, another amazing movie, which we don't need to get into, but might cover later on in this season. It was groundbreaking for what it was when it came out, technology-wise, too.
And apparently it was low budget for the time. They were doing effects that were groundbreaking.
$13 million.
I mean, that's a low budget movie for the 80s, I guess. And it was very groundbreaking for the stuff they were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And Peter Weller, oh my God. That all the visuals of him just stayed with us as kids.
It's true.
And we would always bring it up and be like, oh my God, a lot of those one-liners and just so many memorable moments. The way it's painted as this barren city and just everything about it is just beautiful.
Kirkwood Smith's crew is insane, and then you also have the corporate corrupt people like Miguel Ferreira and Ronny Cox at OCP, and really you're sympathizing for Peter Weller's character, aka Alex Murphy / Robocop,
Yeah.
his amazing assistant Nancy Allen, aka Ann Lewis, and the movie is just like what Rizzo said. They use stop motion animation, they use all different types of, animatronic CGI.
And there was really nothing like it. There was never a police cop, you know what I mean? There was really nothing
Exactly.
at that time. It was so
Yeah.
unique. And I'm sure there was some sort of hesitation from studio people or whoever, right? To make this thing. It's such a fucking weird idea.
I think initially they wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to play RoboCop, but they, I think he got us tied in with the Terminator franchise. But what a great movie. And one thing that I remember always from the movie is the steel mill in Pennsylvania. It really is just this dark fucking area. And so good and so cool. And then in addition to that, anytime when the car pulls out, the police cars pull out of the precinct, there was always a spark when the car went up the ramp, hitting the pavement. And
Yeah.
I was like, do cars do that?
Yes,
That's so
yes.
cool. cars do that, but who would want to fuck up their car that often? But yes, they do that if you really do that. But in this movie, they show a spark each time a car pulls out of the. I don't know why that stuck with me.
That's a dramatic
and also
effect,
the gun
yeah.
move that he does, where he spins it around because he inspired
Yes.
by his son. The show his son watched, but an amazing movie, great score like Rizzo was saying, and also special effects with all the toxic waste on the guys at the end. Just an Ed 209. Oh my God, I'm getting excited.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. So we have the legendary, amazing, talented actor Ronny Cox, who plays Dick
best.
Jones. He's also a singer-songwriter. He's also a musician. He's consistently active for the last 40 years or whatever in Hollywood. He is a big name, and we're so excited that he said yes to this podcast. So thank you, Ronny. You also might know him from Total Recall, Deliverance, Beverly Hills Cop.
The best.
All
Yes,
the best
he
of the
really
best.
is amazing and has such a great delivery and approach to every role he does. I can't believe that he said yes to this. We really love Dick Jones and also we love Buddy Holly. So you're going to learn some serious history that you may have not known about.
He has some Buddy Holly history. Yes, that's true. That's amazing. Well, yeah, let's bring him on.
Let's do it. Ronnie, we need you.
Ronnie, Ron.
Ronnie, it's a pleasure to have you on today's show. Out of curiosity, I want to know how you got involved with acting and getting into films and TV, as well as music, too.
Well, I actually knew from the time I was 12 or 13 years old that all I ever wanted to do was to act and play music. I saw the Treasure Sierra Madre, directed by John Huston, when I was 13, and from that moment on, I knew that I wanted to be an actor. So, and I started playing music.
Nice.
Where I grew up in Portales, New Mexico, 19 miles north of that was Clovis, New Mexico, and in the late 50s and early 60s, Clovis was a hotbed of recording. That's where the Norman Petty Studios were. And I was actually around when Buddy Holly was cutting Peggy Sue.
I love that track.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all of his stuff was recorded there at Norman Petty Studios. I was actually cutting records when I was in high school. Norman Petty had seen a singing group I was with at an exchange assembly and hired us to sing backup on records. And I had a rock and roll band back in those days, Ron's Rockouts.
Yes.
I put myself through high school and college, and I was a theater major in college. I wanted to be an actor and a singer. So I've been a musician and an actor my whole life. I've never ever wanted to do anything else.
Amazing. I love it. That's the way, man. And also, music is the key to life.
Yep.
Yeah. How did you get looped into being casted as the famous Dick Jones in Robocop?
Well, my first film was Deliverance, of course. And since I played the soft, sensitive guy in Deliverance, I got typecast for about 10 or so years as Mr. Sweetheart, nice guy, because since I played the sensitive one, and especially in those days, if you played a character that had any sort of sensitivity, that got equated with weak and soft. I was known as a soft actor. And so if a role had any balls to it, I generally didn't get it. And when I read Robocop, actually Paul Verhoeven sort of had his whole idea of casting me as Dick Jones was that my character, I'd been in all these movies, and my character had a sort of a residual goodwill, my acting persona, that he wanted to trade on that, so that when Dick Jones turns out to be a villainous guy, that makes him twice as evil. And so in some ways, playing Dick Jones was as big a boon to my career as Deliverance was before, because now, since I'd gone all these years playing sensitive characters, now I got to play these really badass characters, and so now I got to play everything.
Yes.
That's so great. And what was the day-to-day like shooting on set? Where was a lot of it shot in between Detroit and also L.A.?
No. We shot the whole film in Dallas.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And but none of the major movie was shot, and we shot it in Dallas.
That's great. Did you have fun shooting it? Did you bond with a lot of the cast and crew?
Working with Paul Verhoeven is has a really volatile temper, although it never spilled on to me. I've seen him go off on people, but he and I had the most wonderful relationship, and as evidenced by me then playing in Total Recall. And it was, to tell you the truth, that film, it was a low budget film for that time. And they almost pulled the plug on it 2 or 3 times because, here again, I'll tell you something out of school, perhaps. The script, as written, wasn't really that good, except that it needed someone with Paul Verhoeven's sensitivity and sensibility to bring it to life, because he's the one that made us care, that made us be sympathetic with this robot, and brought all of that humor, that wonderful humor that's in Robocop, to the fore, because on paper it just wasn't there. And so that's really, I'm not trying to put down Ed Neumeyer and those guys, the writers, but to me, the real hero of that movie was Paul Verhoeven's direction.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah. Totally makes sense. There's just so much new stuff, especially at that time, with the stop animation robot and just how inventive it was. The beginning scene was crazy.
Everybody was sort of giggling behind their hands, saying, "Oh, they're making this movie Robocop." and the only reason I was really interested in playing it when I first read it was that it gave me a chance to play a bad guy, which I was chomping at the bits to do. But when I went in and met with Paul Verhoeven, then I realized, oh no, this guy has a vision for this, and this is going to work.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, to me, the great triumph of that film is Paul Verhoeven's work.
That's amazing. So you finally got to play this sinister, boss. Was there anything special or anything you did to really tap into that?
No. See, here's the thing about, bad guys never think they're bad guys. So I looked for all the good. See, Dick Jones, as far as he was concerned, if everybody just thought like he did, he could solve all the world's problems. and so and that's the key. I hate these people that actors that know they're playing a bad guy, so play badness. I just tried to play him as simply as possible.
Yeah. And you're incredible at it. I think Dick Jones should be president.
Yes.
How is it working alongside, Peter Weller in the Robocop outfit and in that last scene and just in general? What was that like? Was it a lot to do some of those takes with him in that suit? Or
we had so few scenes together. I loved Peter's work in that film, but in terms of my, that was other than the getting shot out the window there and that bit of an exchange there, I didn't really have that much to do with Peter's character.
And then there's also that scene, I know you and Clarence, the actor Kurtwood Smith, you guys are pretty awesome villains together. How is it working with him on those scenes?
Kurtwood's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful sort of understated, over-the-top actor, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you guys are just such perfect villains when you guys are on screen. It's so intense.
I saw somewhere on some online survey that I was voted the best villain in film. He was right in there too. So
yeah, and then I guess what about the death scene? What was some technical stuff? Were you on a green screen on a wire flying around?
No. Originally, what they had done, they had it ended up the shot that they envisioned didn't actually work. They had envisioned shooting me out. They were building a model of the building because Dick Jones was supposed to fly out of a 40 or 50 or 60 story window and splat on the ground. And originally, they had rigged up this model, and they actually made a little model of me. They made a little dummy of me that was about 3 feet tall. And I swear to you, he looked exactly like me. The skin tone was the same. They had the same 3 feet.
Yes.
Everything about him. I mean, it was kind of freaky looking at him, but and so they were going to film that dummy going out of this window down into, with his arms flailing and everything, falling down into a close-up of his screaming face right in the camera, and then they were going to flip the camera and watch him go the rest of the way down and splat on the concrete down below. So that was going to be the shot.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that shot didn't end up working, and so they just sort of they put a dummy in. That's kind of a hokey, phony thing. It just didn't really. Although I got to tell you this, they gave me that little dummy, and for years I had it in my studio garage. And it really was uncanny how much it looked at me. I had a lady that worked for us who wouldn't go in that room because she thought it was some sort of voodoo doll or something.
Yeah,
that's great. That would be great. Like you carry it around.
I wish I had encased it in plastic or something, because eventually the latex on the face and the stuff just sort of and it sort of melted and fell apart. So we had to throw it away. I would give anything to have that little dummy.
Oh, that's such a great story. That's so cool. A nice memento. And of course the afterlife. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that with us. Wow.
Yeah.
You've also been in another iconic 80s sci-fi film with Total Recall too, right? And what was that experience compared to filming Robocop and that movie? Was it in close in time?
We shot that in Mexico City at Churubusco Studios. And I don't know if you know this or not, but see, Total Recall had been in development for 14 years. And it actually, Ron Shue said it, and those guys had everybody wanted to make that film, but nobody could figure out how to make it for the budget. And the film actually shot for a week or two in Australia with Ridley Scott directing and Patrick Swayze playing Arnold's role.
Wow.
And then they eventually pulled the plug on that, and Cannon Studios took it and moved it to, and they got Paul Verhoeven to direct it, and we shot it in Mexico City. And at that time, this was I can't remember the year. That must have been like 88 or somewhere around there. Total Recall was the most expensive film in the history of. Now, eventually Titanic exceeded that budget, but it was a very, very, very expensive. We took over the whole of Churubusco Studios in Mexico City.
That's some sight. Wow.
Amazing. Well, yeah, it definitely looks like it. The most expensive movie ever, especially for the time. I love it. Is there any life advice for actors or people in film that want to get into, landing some good, films like yourself? And what's your thoughts on movies nowadays, action movies nowadays? Because Robocop was just so bloody and so crazy, Yeah.
Well, the secret to making it as an actor is that there is no secret. there is no way to make it because there's so many actors that are talented, and I know literally hundreds of actors that are extremely talented, and they just never really get that one lucky time. So the key to acting is to do as much as you can. If there's a student film, go do it. If there's a community theater, go do it. If there's a place you can work at a university, go do it. And because the key is that finally getting that one lucky break is in being good enough to take advantage of that one lucky break. Because we know a lot of people like me who got that one lucky break, and I was lucky enough that I was good enough to I know, here again, hundreds of actors that get that one lucky break and they weren't ready for it. They weren't prepared for that. And so when that magic ring comes around, not only do you need to grasp it, but you need to be good enough to hold on to it.
Yeah, valid advice. Thank you. That's
amazing,
super insightful. And I love that you love music. You've been pretty active with putting out records and playing shows the past few years too. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I have a brand new album that's just about to come out, and I just did my show, which is my show is different than everybody else's show because I'm also a story, as you can probably tell from this podcast, I'm a storyteller too. And so my show in many ways is kind of like a 2-act play with music. And so even if it's an audience, I don't like to play great, huge audiences because I want a sense of intimacy in my show. But I meet, even if it's 500, 600 people, I go out and meet the audience as they're coming in. And I will have had a conversation with nearly everybody in the audience by the time we start the show. And so there, because I want a sense of intimacy about the show, and so I just recently did my show in Nashville with the session players there, and we filmed it and recorded it, and I'm going to sell it as a special to like either Netflix or Hulu or one of those people, and
nice.
And then I have a new album that's about to come out too. So,
wow, that's excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we'll definitely make sure to include this in there. Is there any is there a title or an album name or anything that people should look out for?
Yeah, it's Live at the Kitchen Sink. Last November, I got inducted into the New Mexico Music Hall of Fame. And while we were doing a tour of New Mexico, we stopped. There's a wonderful studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico, called the Kitchen Sink. And so my two players and I, Radislav Lorkovich on keys and Tom Ryan on bass and vocals, we did a live show at the studio there, and so that's just about to come out.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, that's great. We'll make sure everyone checks that out. I think we have a final question. Can we start a band with you called the Dick Jones Experience? One day. Well, I hope one day that he, reconsiders and says yes to the band, right?
Oh, my God. The Dick Jones Experience would be one of the best bands. I'd love to see them.
Dude. That would make millions, right? Me and him?
Yes. No, I really... I really love it. I really love that you asked him that. And, I really love that also Ronny got into how he treats his intimate shows and sets up an environment. And he talks to every audience member. I know so many different bands.
He cares about music.
I love that he's a storyteller. And I love that he was able to kind of tell us and go back in time about the whole doll story, about what they used.
Oh
when
my
they threw him
God.
out the
That kind of
window.
reminds me of The
Yes.
Kisser, our episode 3 from Bobo Touch Helpline.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Your doll collection.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah.
But it is a true, absolute honor to meet Ronny Cox and speak with him and have him on the show. Check out his other work. He's brilliant. And check out his new special and record that he put together. And
Oh, yeah. He has the new album that's out is Live at the Kitchen Sink.
Live at the Kitchen Sink. Check it out.
Please check that out.
Listen to those songs, hear those stories. And he's also in the new movie Being the Ricardos, and check that out. Another fun movie if you love I Love Lucy and that whole time. It's really good. But yeah, Ronny, we love Robocop and we love you, and we hope to continue to make music inspired by both you and Robocop. And
yes, and one day maybe we'll join forces, Bobo Touch and the Dick Jones Experience.
You never know.
Now it's time Bobo Touch reenact their favorite scene.
Because whatever happens, this corporation will live up to the guiding principles of its founder: courage, strength, conviction. We will meet each new challenge with the same aggressive attitude. What the hell? Oh my God. How can we help you, officer?
Dick Jones is wanted for murder.
This is absurd! That thing is a violent, mechanical psychopath!
My program will not allow me to act against an officer of this company.
These are serious charges. What is your evidence? I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake. I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake. Get up! Get up! Get up! I want a chopper! I want a chopper now! We will walk to the roof very calmly. I will board that chopper with my hostage. Anybody tries to stop me? Dick, you're fired!
Thank you.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
Murphy.
Go see RoboCop. They did remake it eventually with another good cast, but you know how it goes with remakes. They're kind of funky. The original's the best and untouchable. And
the originals are usually untouchable, right, Baby Bob?
I agree. The sequels to the original RoboCop weren't
That's
bad,
tough.
but nothing like the first one.
And if you're on social media, please give us a follow at Bobo Touch on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And we do comedy, we do sketches. Please check us out, bobotouch.com.
Thank you.
We love everyone. Thank you for listening.
Be safe or dead or alive or coming with me.
Stay away from the... That's right. Stay away from Omicron. It sounds like a Robocop disease.
OCB.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bobo Touch.